Welcome back to CBS This Morning. After this week's public testimony, House Democrats tell CBS News they do have enough evidence to move forward with articles of impeachment against the president. Yesterday, lawmakers heard from the last of 12 scheduled witnesses. Former White House official Fiona Hill said she believes EU Ambassador Gordon Sondland was used to push the president's personal political agenda, getting Ukraine to open investigations into the Bidens and the 2016 election.
Now, I actually realise, having listened to his deposition, that he was absolutely right, that he wasn't coordinating with us because we weren't doing the same thing that he was doing. He was being involved in a domestic political errand, and we were being involved in national security foreign policy, and those two things had just diverged.
The White House says President Trump is looking forward to laying out his case in a Senate trial should he be impeached in the House. The president met with several top Republican senators yesterday to discuss the next steps in the process.
Jonathan Turley and Kim Wehle are CBS News legal analysts and constitutional scholars, and they join us now to explain where the impeachment inquiry is headed next. So, Kim, let's start with you. Did the Democrats lay out a case that was strong enough to reach that constitutional bar for impeachment?
Well, if the question is abuse of power, yes, they absolutely did. And that the president, it looks like, asked for an investigation or announcement of investigations into a political rival in exchange for release of military aid. So using the power of the presidency, the ability to have a White House meeting, to release this critical aid that Ukraine needed to stave off Russian aggression, and said, you know what, you have to help me personally. So that is the standard that the framers cared about, having somebody in office that would use that power for themselves, not for the benefit of the American people. And here we know it was contrary to national security.
So as far as you're concerned, write up the articles of impeachment. Let's vote tomorrow.
We're going to see it. As far as let's vote tomorrow, no. The process is a Senate trial, and we'll have to see what's in the articles to then test the evidence against those claims.
Jonathan, do you feel the same?
I'm afraid I don't.
Why?
The fact is, I think that this is certainly the shortest investigation. It's certainly the thinnest evidentiary record, and it's the narrowest impeachment ever to go to the Senate if they were to go on this record. What they did is they did show a quid pro quo. Kim and I agree with that. I think they had powerful witnesses. The witnesses were really marvelous. So
why don't they have a case?
Yeah. Well, because the question is, did they prove something was contemptible or impeachable? Contemptible is not synonymous with impeachable. The president does set policy. They have 3 conversations, 2 of them directly, one with Senator Johnson, one with Ambassador Sondland, where Trump denies a quid pro quo. Now, I think you can toss the Sondland one out because that's September 9th. He knew about the whistleblower. But the Senator Johnson one was August 31st. So you have a conflicted record. And the question is, what do you need to remove a sitting president?
Except we do have the call transcript, right?
Why haven't the Democrats subpoenaed John Bolton, which would take them into the White House, but they haven't pushed to get him into the hearings? Why not?
I don't know. Whether this is intentional or not, it seems designed to fail in the Senate. I don't think you could prove a removable offense of a president on this record, even if the Democrats were in control. This thing is too narrow. It doesn't have a broad foundation, and it's an undeveloped record. There are a lot of core witnesses that were not called. And the question is why? They said, we want to vote by December. We want to vote before Santa. Why? Why would you be pushing this instead of calling these critical witnesses?
One quick thing. Okay. Mr. Bolton just tweeted, he said, for the backstory, stay tuned.
What does that mean?
That's intriguing.
What does that mean?
The book, maybe?
I mean,
yeah.
No, but this is the thing. I wonder what the American people are thinking. We've had 17 witnesses, as you point out, many of them stellar reputations, nonpartisan, 3,000 pages of sworn depositions. I think people's eyes start to glaze over. Ukraine, where is it? Some people would say. What is this? Is it bribery? Is it collusion? What is it? What do you think is really at stake here, Kim?
What's at stake here is the separation of powers. We don't have a single person or branch in charge. We're not a monarchy. The idea is every branch gets their papers graded by the other 2 branches.
What does it say about the office of the presidency?
The office of the presidency, if wrongdoing in the office, abuse of power is not checked, then we enlarge the office. The belt and suspenders of the power of the presidency gets enlarged. That gets passed on to the next president, to future generations. And it won't always be this particular president or even this particular political party.
Jonathan, Reince Priebus said earlier today, if this gets to the Senate, when it gets to the Senate, the rules are changing.
They are. And, the Senate, the Republicans will be in charge of the rules. I was Adam Schiff's opposing counsel last time we did this in the last impeachment. And Adam benefited greatly because the Democrats were the ones that wrote those rules. Now it's going to be the opposite. Even the Chief Justice in that proceeding does not get the final word. If he makes a ruling on evidence, the majority of the Senate can overturn him. And so the question is, what is this going to look like in the Senate? And I got to tell you, I think that this could be the trial that Trump wants. And the first witness they call may be Hunter Biden.
Well, let's hope it's as civil as it was in the House, because so far the process has been, I think, very measured and thoughtful and professional, which is good.
We will all still
except
be
for the
watching.
Republicans storming the basement one
Yes,
day.
that was a
wasn't
little
very
footnote there.
Extracurricular.
Oh, there's that. Thank you, Kim Wehle and Jonathan Turley. Always good to have you both here.